start streaming. Here we go.
Start the stream. Robot and the Bear with Luke and Eric. That's us. Sorry, it's not the most exciting theme song today. I kind of figured we should we're starting a little late, a little late, and so I figured let's just dive into the meat and potatoes of the podcast.
Meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes.
Yep, and
Um,
we have we're here because you have a show opening up at the Japanese American Museum National Museum.
you're in it too.
I am in it, but it's
Yes.
really a celebration of all things giant and robotic.
And you're part of it.
I'm honored to be a part of it.
Okay. Anyways, yeah.
A small part of it.
It becomes
But like
begins on Friday. This Friday, which is in a couple days, and kind of
Friday's
exciting. Yeah, Friday's a
Friday.
VIP reception. Technically, the first public day is Saturday, but basically anyone and everyone is invited on Friday, and it's free. Free on
Wow,
Friday. Yeah, which is kind of cool because
that's
they say VIP, and it like makes it sound more difficult than it is, but ultimately, nah, it's public. Anyone could really
hmm
come. Frankly, you could just come and come hang out.
Let's talk about who's in the show.
Um, Felicia Chow, Georgia
Felicia
Co.
Chow. She got in all the freaking promotional materials.
Because they chose only one image to like go for it all, and I was like, okay, let's do it.
Mhm.
And then they did it, and it was just well, you know what? Frankly, because
Welcome to the
most
Jan and
people
Felicia Chow show.
most people didn't have any image or didn't turn in any images, or it's one of those things. We have a deadline where we need an image, and then nobody had one, so she did
I I I turned mine in. I turned mine
in
in,
in
but
December. In
maybe not
December.
December.
Okay, there.
I don't. I
This
don't.
all happened in December.
Wow, that's how
Yeah,
you know Felicia is a consummate professional, and
she is.
I am not.
She is
Mhm.
on it. She did. She was emailing back, like everything was like quick and very thorough, and nothing was late, and everything was. It was just like, oh my gosh, she's doing everything. So Felicia Chow, yes, she is in the exhibition. Georgie Co. Darren.
Georgico,
Yep.
three new paintings, right? Three
Darren
big
and
ass
Trish.
paintings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One is 96 inches wide, so that's what is that 8 feet or yeah, I think that's
it's
8 feet.
nine, yeah, 8 feet. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a
So there's a
little
one
over
that
8 feet.
yeah. Well, I think it's 8 feet. Or is it? I don't know. 96 inches, whatever that is. I thought that was 8 feet, but I could be wrong. Georgia Co's in it. Three big paintings. Rain Sito, who
Yeah,
has
yeah.
five little drawings, which is it makes sense, right? Five little drawings. Taylor Lee, who has the kind of like I would say Japanese pop culture clay sculptures.
I love those.
They're really
Love them.
cool. And today
They're
she
so.
brought her last two.
Mm.
Yeah,
There, there
she brought
was
two
one
more.
that was still being when I dropped off a couple days ago. There was one that was still being assembled.
Yeah, and that
Um,
got assembled. And when it's put together, it looks like it's one piece, but it's actually three pieces. But like
oh,
it looks totally like one piece. I'm like, hey, that like really fits well. Then there's is it another Ghidra piece that actually came out perfect and then it cracked. So she kind of used that kintsugi thing where it's like repair. So it's like
right.
this gold cracked Ghidra. It's really cool.
I saw. I think she posted a photo of it
Yep, that
on her
yeah,
Instagram.
that's up there. And then
Very
there's Luke
cool.
Chu, the infamous Luke Chu.
Luke Chu.
Yeah, then
Yeah, that guy.
that guy, infamous. Then Yosuke Yamamoto.
Yosuke Yamamoto and James Jean.
Mr.
James
James
Jean
Jean.
took up a huge chunk of the museum, rightfully so. You know,
Yeah,
like
actually, well, that expanded at the last second. And then there's, last but not least, well, there's the giant robot section.
Right.
Ta-da. All right, and then there's Mike Shinoda, the wild
Yeah,
card.
I was wondering about that. Like,
Wild
does he
card.
do visual art?
Yeah, he went to Art Center.
Okay.
He went to Art Center. He paints, and he painted. So get this. This is where social media pays off. He TikToked, TikToked, and I saw it.
Mm.
He was showing that he had a solo album that came out about 20 years ago,
Oh.
and the cover is a painting, and he showed it on TikTok. He goes, "Yeah, I actually made a series of 10 paintings. I picked one to be the cover image of this thing." So and he kind of shows it for an instant behind him, and I was like, "Those are cool." Then I hit
Mm.
him up, and he said, "Then we're showing those." So they're paintings he made 20 years ago. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Pretty cool because
Wow.
they're like of that era, and they're sort of like, I don't know how you call it, man. It's sort of like when that era of like artists that were maybe doing graffiti or were influenced by graffiti, but then they started doing fine art.
Right.
It's sort of in that kind of vein. It's like this Dalek meets, it's like that kind of upper playground ish, Dalek ish. Like there's a lot of like influences going on in there, and that's kind of what it looks like to me. And I was like, oh, that's cool, and it has an
Hmm.
interesting context because it's sort of yeah, it was kind of like made maybe to be an album cover, and that album just got re-released recently on vinyl,
Oh.
so it's kind of cool. There's a lot of like great little I don't know, parts of that story to have him in there. And then he's actually shown at that museum before.
Oh.
Yeah, he's done stuff there before, but I kind of like these retro paintings because they kind of like are a little more illustrative, and uh I don't know,
How big
they
are
kind
they?
of fit better. What's that?
How big are they?
They're 2 by 2, and he has 10 of them, and they
Wow.
stack, right? So they're stacked on top of each other basically. So they're 5 across and stacked. So it was kind of cool. I was like, that's perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I just wanted, like it'd be so obvious just put in all the people we know, but I decided to do something a little different. I just thought the opportunity was there to try to do something people wouldn't expect. So
Giant robot working
there you
with
go.
rock stars.
Yeah, I guess. I just thought it'd be kind of good. I was like, oh, this kind of fits. So, what I wanted to do was an editorial section, sort of like editorial, because it's like this is sort of like Giant Robot's 30-year anniversary, right? Giant Robot magazine, right?
Right.
Began in 1994. My idea was I was originally going to have Jenny Shimizu, the Calvin Klein model,
Yeah.
and I guess you would say actress, I don't know, icon. She was going to I was going to have her in it, and it was going to be like, let's do like I don't know what you call it, like a wall collage of her life, Like that was the
Mm.
idea, from like Calvin Klein posters to whatever it is that brings her to the present day. And
Right.
she said yes. Like this was set up in like November. She said yes, or
Yeah.
December. And then she just disappeared. Like starting in later December, she was nowhere to be found. Still hasn't replied to me once after she said yes, and we kind of started texting back and forth about it. I called, texted probably 20 times, like literally, because I was like texting every day to try to get her to text back, and then I would call her and she wouldn't answer. So basically, it went for, I mean, up until last week, I couldn't get a hold of her.
Wow.
So well, in before that though, I was like, okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna invite Mike Shinoda in and take that spot, because I was
Mhm.
like, it was supposed to happen there.
Right.
So that
Right.
was supposed to be this Jenny Shimizu, kind of like magazine editorial. That's what I kind of wanted to use it for, is like a magazine editorial ish thing. It's like an
Right.
article, but it's not an article, right? It's like maybe a person that's not necessarily an artist, but then I think I was able to depict their life. So in a way, I was just
Mm.
like, well, Mike Shinoda kind of fits that too in a way, because it's a person that I don't show as an artist, but it kind of has an editorial edge to it. It
Sure.
has this story, like why these paintings were done and what's going on with those paintings, what do they mean, and then the fact that there's a 20-year thing for him and an album and all this stuff. Anyways, I just thought, okay, that kind of fits this whole like story, and
Mm.
that's where it all felt, or where it all fell into place. I was like, okay, that's why. So I'm not sure if that
They.
makes any sense, but that's sort of the angle toward it. And I don't know if people are going to understand that, but it's okay.
Well, that would have been pretty interesting, right? To kind of like reach into the giant robot like roots, like which of course is editorial commentary and like lots of interviews with Asians, influential Asians and stuff like that. And rather than like the highly art focused stuff that your
Yeah.
shows at Random had generally been.
Yeah.
So
Maybe something like that anyway. But this one, yeah, I was trying to do that, but then the one main article thing I wanted to do fell through. So it just kind of happens, I guess. I don't know. That was kind of odd though. I was like, oh, all of a sudden just dead silent, like radio silence, and I hope she's okay.
yeah, I hope so too. That's
Yeah.
kind of concerning, when
I would
someone
say yes. I would say yeah. So I mean, that would have been really cool, I think, to do because I would have just dug through all of her shit and like, that like there's this life that she had that's like crazy long. I would have tried to get all little like photos and just whatever I could grab. I would have tried to do it and show it in a really, just crazy collage wall where it's just like, whoa, you're telling a story about this person's life. And I'm gonna do it again in the future. If that happens, I'm gonna give that another try.
right? Is
Yeah.
there any other people that have you thought considered for this kind of like treatment?
Well, in no.
No.
I was like, I want to do this with her, and then it didn't happen. I was like, all right, forget it. I
Um,
wasn't trying, like to do that thing. No, I wasn't gonna do. I was like, no. I was just willing to
too
try it
many
once.
people living boring ass lives around you, I
Hers
guess.
is hers is especially kind of interesting, I think. So
Right.
and plus
Well,
she's kind of iconic that way.
hmm. Yeah, I don't. I remember. I mean, I do remember seeing. I think I remember seeing the cover that she was on for
Yeah,
you.
issue 10.
Yeah, and but I
And I think
don't.
that was a spectacular interview, by the way.
Hmm.
Like that's what makes it so good. That interview was amazing because she talked about drug use and modeling and how basically she would get drugs for free as being a model and modeling agencies. Like they were just basically providing the tools to party. You
Wow.
know what I mean? She said, yeah, all that was just it was all of a sudden it would appear and it was like and she was just
Sorry.
she talked very truthfully about stuff and it was like kind of a wild interview. Like it was very I don't know. I felt like I pulled something off by doing that interview, and I know that she was they I think like maybe a showrunner somewhere read that and thought, wow, we need Jenny Shimizu on our show to tell this story because it's on the zine, right? And then she
Mhm.
said that she got asked by like other people to do an interview on TV,
Mm.
and then she said, I'm not going to give you any of that. What I told Janet Robot, like you're not going to get any of that.
Do
You
you
know what I
think she
mean?
had any regrets about that?
I don't know, but she just said that they wanted her to do it. And she said, "I'm not giving that to you." You know,
Hmm.
so I thought that was funny. Like
Wow.
I got it for free, and these other people wanted to put her on TV, and she was like, "Nah." And then she said
Mhm.
that she got one cool thing about that article was she said that she got I don't know what that's called, like showbiz people get placed on hold, so like you don't take any other job. So while that cover was out there, she
Mm.
actually got placed on a hold by like Sony or something, and they pay her a bunch of money to not take another job, to just in case we got something for you, we're going to
Mhm.
give you this money, so don't take another job, here's money. So she said she had that happen to her because of that. Like someone
Wow.
saw it. Yeah, someone saw it and said, oh shit, we need her, so let's just put a hold. And she said no project ever happened, but she got money for doing nothing basically. And I was
That's
like,
pretty.
wow. Yeah.
It's pretty nice. It's very nice.
Yeah.
I would like the world to put me on hold that way.
Yeah. So she got a hold. She said literally she didn't have to do anything and she was not supposed to take another job because she might get a job from Sony, which would have paid even more money. But it was like, okay,
But
wait, it's like, wait, here's money, just wait, type of thing.
but,
So
but did a job actually? Did I'm assuming no during that.
no, she said on that one, nothing materialized, but she did get that money to do nothing. So
Mm.
I was like, all right, you owe me one, Jenny.
At the time, were you doing quarterly or
Man,
bi-monthly?
I think it was quarterly at that time. It was
Mm.
still quarterly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she got to chill for a while, and then that like it's always neat when you hear these stories of things that happen from your doings, I guess. All of a sudden you're like, that happened. You hear stories like way later. You're just like, oh, I didn't know. And I think that's
Yeah.
kind of the funnest part. Sometimes you just don't know what things lead to, because not everyone's going to tell you what things lead to. So
Right. Right.
it's kind
No,
of neat
that's
that way.
it's pretty interesting. Like I obviously don't do anything in the show business, the corporate show business world. So
Me too. I didn't even
you
know that
know,
existed, or
yeah,
that was a
did
thing.
yeah, had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So
And is she acting now, or is she?
I don't know, dude. I have no idea what she's doing. I mean, she's just being an icon, but I hope she's okay, because again, I haven't talked to her since, or texted since December, you know. I think
Hmm,
December somewhere. Yeah, just she just disappeared.
Um,
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit it's a bit concerning. Maybe she just but she said yes. She was like, "Oh man, this sounds really good, blah blah blah." And then never heard her, after that she just is gone. So I know
hmm,
that I know that in normal times she probably would have done it, because I told her, you're gonna have a lot of control on this. Like, you could say what you don't want in, you could say what you want in. Like, you'll actually have, like, it's not like I'm gonna like do this thing and you don't get to know what's going on. I was like, I want to work with you on this, so you
right.
have a lot of control. Like, you're not out. It's not like I'm gonna shame you or something, or nothing to worry about. You can be there. But
Right.
yeah, she said all of it sounded good. Then yeah, she just kind of disappeared. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah, definitely worried, because she's battled a lot of things in her life, from what I understand. So
That's like one of those things. Like I did an interview a long time ago, um, and like in that interview, I was pretty freshly sober. I did it after our giant robot interview for the final like issue of the magazine. And I was still pretty fresh from like freshly sober, and so I just kind of like unloaded a whole bunch of like dark ass shit, you
whoa,
know, about about my life and what I was going through. And soon after, I kind of regretted it. I was just like, I don't want like this thing to be like such like a huge, you know, factor of my artistic persona. So I asked them not to publish the interview,
oh
and then we did it again. We did another interview together, and I definitely, I mean, like I can't ignore that stuff, but like I
right,
also wasn't so like, and then this happened and all these crazy dark shit and threats against my life and blah blah
oh
blah.
my
So,
god,
like
whoa,
no, I didn't like get into. I just didn't feel like I wanted to like get into that stuff anymore. It's when people go through a lot of like heavy selfish or self-destructive shit, and they finally get past it. I don't think that they want that, you know those experiences to define them.
right,
you know like yeah. And and so like now, like I've been like sober for like, you know this year will be 14 years. And
wow,
yeah, like I feel so removed from all of that stuff that it's just like, yeah, I don't really, not like compelled to like talk about it, because so much has happened since then to my in my life that it's like, yeah, no, I mean, drugs, no, that was a thing. But it's not really a thing that is directly influencing what I do now.
right,
And I'm more interested in talking about what's going on now than I am, you know, um, reflecting on like the ups and downs of, my, that, whatever. And
right.
I don't know, maybe that I'm wondering if, like, you know, what was her last name?
Jenny Shimizu.
I'm wondering if Shimizu like had that any kind of like thoughts like that,
Could be, but
or
I did offer. We could bring it all the way to the present. Like it doesn't have, it's not all about your past. It could be about. I mentioned that. I was like, so you have a lot of control. Like this isn't about like you from then. It's you now also. Like whatever you want to do, we can make this work. But yeah, I don't know.
or she's like on some sort of
Yeah,
project right now and
or yeah, or there were some other things maybe like, clues. So because she was spending time at like where she grew up, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if like her family's like, because her family for live are probably pretty old.
yeah,
So she was
yeah,
she was spending time where she grew up, and I was like, oh, that's not kind of not a good sign, maybe. Like, you know,
mm, yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know. I can't just. That's the only thing I could make out of that is like her parents must be like 80s and plus. So
mm,
yeah, and then she's spending a lot of time at home, and I'm like, oh, usually doesn't do that. So
right.
yeah, I don't know.
Um,
Hopefully that's not a sign. Hopefully she's
yeah,
just having a good time. Hopefully she's just in her area buying motorcycles, fixing them, and riding them around.
yeah, like living her best life.
I hope so.
So, so
Anyways,
tell me about let's talk
I
about
would
these
love to
art.
do. I would love to do that again, though. By the way, like if I had an opportunity to just do many of those in one show, that would be fun. Like no art is just going to be editorial thing on the walls. That would be really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
wouldn't be
I
able
mean,
to sell a thing, but okay.
well, I mean,
Like
like, are you
like if it were at Giant Robot and I did that, yeah, I'll have a month of eating top ramen at best.
selling?
Like I'd be like, oh yeah, let's do this on the wall. It's just like there'd be no. I mean, there's ways to make it work, but that sounds like a way to. That sounds
No.
like making a magazine. You're gonna not do so
Well, I mean, I think
just like Vice. Look at Vice.
right. Well, that's why you got to get those grants. You got to get those like
Yeah,
art
I got you. That's different. Okay, if I can get grants, I love that. Yes,
to like like be able to encourage artists to create like use the space as an installation space or
that's
something like
fun.
that.
That's so fun. Super fun. You know,
I would love to do an
yeah,
installation of some sort, but
super
I'm
fun.
not really sure how I would do it. I,
Yeah.
that actually reminded me. That made me think of when Barry McGee took over GR2.
Oh, he's
Um,
the installation man.
yeah, like
Yeah,
it
he's the
was.
installation master, basically.
I
Yeah.
remember like going there. I was kind of hoping to see like some of like the classic Barry McGee stuff, like his like the heads and like the homeless characters that he does and stuff. Nope, it wasn't that. I mean, there's a couple of them. There's maybe like a couple pieces that were like on bottles or something like that, but I think most of it was just geometric shapes with colors and stuff like that. And I was
He
like,
actually, if you were to break it down, he had a bunch of heads. They were just kind of scattered, and there wasn't just a few. There was kind of a lot, but they were scattered, and then there was a bunch on bottles, a bunch on scrap papers. Like they were all over the place. The thing was, they weren't on all the walls. They were. He put stuff in all the glass cases because he was like,
mm,
"Oh, it's a store." So like every glass case, he goes, "Okay, clear them all out. I'm gonna put stuff in all of them." So
oh wow.
he had stuff in those. I don't know if you remember, but that
No,
was pretty fun. Oh, the
it was
walls was like a part of it, but everything in the glass cases was also like something to look at. He did installations in the glass cases.
all right. All right. I
Yeah,
don't. Yeah, I barely
it's
remember
it was a
that.
while. It was a long time ago.
Was a long time. And
Sure
then even
was.
like the David Cho stuff. Like I remember, I think I was able to see like I think I saw David Cho's show at GR2. Like I think it was
Hmm.
your first show, right?
For show, he had a lot of things there too.
He was doing like
Yeah,
those heads on what you would call it, like like just cut paper.
yeah, yeah,
It-
yeah. I still have some of those. So like his show's a little different because it wasn't really cohesive. It was just like here's a bunch of stuff, all different kinds. Barry McGee's was a little more cohesive, I think, as
Sure.
an idea. But yeah, it's whatever, man. Everyone's like learning and doing stuff, so
Were you
it's all good.
selling those painted like panels that he did, like the
Yeah,
geometric? Yeah.
sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I didn't have a grant. Oh, I had to try anyway, so I didn't have a grant. But yeah, Barry McGee's in Japan. Another exhibition overseas, like yet another one.
Oh wow.
It's just like a never ending like overseas Japan stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just never ending. It just seems like he could does something in Japan, then it's like I don't know where, Taiwan or something, and then he does one. I was in Hong Kong, then Korea, then somewhere. Like just
Mm.
he's got this little circuit going on.
Oh, that's
Again, he too living his best life, I think.
yeah. No, it sounds
Yeah,
like it. I wonder like how much of it he built. He does like. I'm sure that they probably like fly him out there for like several months for him to just be able to work on the show over there or something like that.
I don't know how long. I don't know about several months. I feel like 1 month maybe,
Mm,
and then I think he must bring stuff. I'm not sure, man. He must, you
mm,
know what I mean? Like
mm-hmm.
he yeah, I think it's not so. Maybe it is 2 months. I could be wrong, and maybe that's enough time to do stuff. And yeah, I know he's got assistants and stuff too. So
Mm-hmm.
you want them geometrics? Those assistants are cranking them out.
That's actually the last thing I'd want from him. The first thing I'd want
I
is,
know.
his more
Yeah,
illustrative kind of,
yeah,
twist stuff. But
yeah.
that's just the kind of like stuff that I'm personally connect with, you
It's
know.
cool. No, I
the mo-
like it too. The geometric stuff is almost like a background or something, a texture.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I, I,
yeah,
I'm surprised he doesn't put those heads on top of them, but or maybe he does,
yeah.
and I just haven't seen them. So
I think they're adjacent usually. I don't know about on top, but sometimes on the same panel, it'll have a geometric and then a face on the same one. I've seen it, but not on top usually.
mm,
Yeah,
mm,
that's because the assistants are making the geometrics.
mm.
Okay, I don't know. Actually, he one time in my like in front of me, he made one of those. I saw him make one.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's not all assistants, but I saw
was he
him do one.
using like like frisket and masks and stuff like that to like make the
Tape,
shape?
tape.
Tape?
Yeah,
Fris-
it was masking tape, just masking tape.
Was he using the super wide stuff like the
I no,
no,
no. It was like masking tape. Just
just
I
using and then
remember,
like lining up then
yeah, then
filling it
peel.
on
I don't even know how he did it, but yeah, then he's peeling it off, and then I saw him do that, and I watched him, and he was like, "I saw you do it," and he made one. It took time, but he did one in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, whoa,
cool.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah."
Yeah. So let's talk about the artists that you chose for the show.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, like what was like what was there a certain rhyme and reason for it?
There always is, I guess. I mean, I guess I think I have it's like a mental algorithm. Does that make sense? Sort of like a
Mhm,
mental algorithm. Like it's like a mental Venn diagram maybe of just a
mhm,
lot of different things, and then I'm like, okay, what are the common things? Like first off, it's the 30 years of Giant Robot, so that I'm already thinking that.
mm,
But then I'm thinking, you're thinking the same thing. I don't want to do the same show I've done before, right?
mhm,
So I
mhm,
want to do something different, and I want to work with the people that like are always there for me too. People who are there for me as much as
mhm.
I can. So like
You put
these
me
are all
in
like parts. Well,
there.
well, you're in there, even though you're the laziest guy, but you're still in there. See, um, but there's a lot of things, and then there's a lot of people who are frankly, they're busy and they couldn't do it. Right? There's people that are too busy.
Right.
So like I have to keep that in mind. I'm like, okay, some people are just too busy,
Yeah.
and so they're out.
Mhm,
They're out. They're just too busy, right? Like you got this going on, I got that going on. Can't do anything with you this year, and I'm like, well, then you know you can't do anything, or I can't do anything with you in 2024 or whatever. Then I'm just like, well, that means no museum show. You can't. You're too busy for me. So
mhm.
and I just have to work. I have to work with the folks that are not, that have time for me. That's part of it too, right? So
Sure.
people are too busy, so they're out. People that like, maybe that did a lot last time, maybe they're out. Like there's just a lot of things, and then there's the whole concept of, oh well, the 30-year thing. I want to work with people that I've worked with for a while. I want to work with new people. Like I kind of trying to, like if I'm
Mm,
if I'm talking 30 years of time, I'd like to sort of like have it represented like Rain is kind of new, Felicia's kind of new. You know what I
mhm.
mean? It's like there's some that I kind of don't work with, and then there's like the Mike Shinoda is interesting because if I had a magazine, I would probably have interviewed him by now, right?
Right.
Like I don't work with him in the store. I don't show his art at all. I probably would have interviewed him in the magazine though, had it still been going on, even just a little while longer. So it's kind of
Mhm.
like, like, oh yeah, there's that angle too. Like, so there's like a
Mm.
lot of like pieces to it. And that's kind of how I go about picking. And then I'm trying to think, okay, who does something big, who does something small, who does something sculptural, who does something however. And then, like a guy like James is like flexible. He's got
Yeah.
paintings or he's got sculptures, but he does art shows all over the place with paintings, and the spaces are 10 times bigger than Janum, right? Like,
Right.
like whole floors of museums and whole this and that, like big,
Hmm.
whole buildings basically. And then, so I'm like, well, what's interesting to them? Oh, let's just show all the stuff that those places, those things, those shows don't show. Like, what don't they show? It's all these smaller sculptures and stuff like that, right? They're not
Mm.
showing the rugs. They're not showing this. I'm like, I want to show all the stuff they're not showing. And
Right.
then he was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, ding, right? There's like, you know, he's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what don't they show? But oh, we could do that. And then that's kind of like this awesome like pocket that, like I'm like, oh, I found the James Jean like window that might be interested in. It's just something different. Because if I said,
Right.
hey, let's just show paintings, he'll be like, well, dude, these other shows, I need those paintings for these other shows anyway. And
Right.
you know what I mean? So, and
Right.
I could show like 4 or 5, but then, it's one of those things where it's like, well, but then there's all these sculptures. What about those, What about
Right.
this? What about the rugs? The rugs that no one sees? They're just like, they're not out there public really. So it's like, yeah,
Are
stuff like
those
that.
those things that he was? Are those rugs just things that he was selling to his collectors?
I don't think, I think there's only one each right now of these rugs.
Oh.
Technically, I don't think they're made in quantity as of yet. So I think there's just one. But I know, like, I've seen them, and they've been around. Like that tiger rug has been around for, I want to say 2 years, maybe,
Mm.
or maybe a year. Now I feel like two, and and there's a rabbit one, and that one's new. Like, I was like, oh, rabbit one, let's do that too. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like that. And then he is showing one painting that's over 10 years old,
Mm.
and that one's like one that probably people haven't seen, and it's like in his old style.
Right.
So it's kind of cool too. Like there's a little bit of like, he's showing something retro. Sean Chow's got retro work.
Yeah.
Mike Shinoda's is retro work.
Right.
Taylor Lee's work depicts retro toys. you know so there's like a little angle of that too, that like I'm showing old and new at the same time. And Giant Robot, like, I have a display, and that is definitely showing old and new. So I kind of
Mm.
like the way that it all balances out, that I'm not the only one doing this retro thing, that there's others. So
Hmm.
that's kind of how it worked well. I was like, oh, perfect, let's just show this old painting from James. And then, there's a lot of like things like that that kind of fell into place. And then, oh, interesting is Felicia did illustrations for the Giant Robot book that's going to come out like later this year.
Hmm.
And those illustrations are showing in the show, which is also like another tie into editorial also.
Oh, there's that one where it's like the giant robot store and the giant robot
Yeah, that's the
gallery.
that's the book cover. Yeah,
Oh,
that'll
that's
be the
cool.
book cover, and that's the front and back of the book. And so there's a lot of tie-ins to that are more than meets the eye to Giant Robot and editorial concept or 30-year concept, right? There's a little more that meets the eye, but we'll see if that translates. But that's kind of the difference. It's a little more thought out than it may look, but that's how it always is. That's my life, right?
Mm.
It I think things are always more thought out than what it looks like. I make it look like, it's just a bunch of stuff, man. And then there's actually a little more, but sometimes that story is boring.
It
Like
is kind
sometimes just people having a good old time going, hey, this is all really cool. Then you tell them that story, and they're just like, yeah, whatever, shut up. You know?
of. Yeah, sometimes it's better to just let it be what it is without,
Yeah.
the additional thought going into it.
I
Though
mean,
the thought is there.
for those who want to know, it's there, but then you have to dig for it. But I think that's sort of like, I mean, I don't know, man. I think I was a magazine editor for what, 16 years, and it's like having a microphone and just going blah, 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 blah. You're talking, writing stuff and talking, and sometimes it's nice to keep your mouth shut.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's like I think I've overexplained half of my life was just overexplained in a magazine, right? It's just here's all of it that I can give you,
Yeah,
and
but you
blog.
weren't talking about yourself the entire time. You're
It's all
talking
the shit that
about
I was interested in and all the stuff I like though. And it's like
yeah.
I'm gonna geek out, and I'm gonna geek out in print instead of like you geeking out on Gundam models in private, right? It's like I'm geeking out in print. Like I'm putting pictures and I'm like showing the exact shit that I'm like interested in, or loving. So
That brings up
there's a
an interesting like line of thought there from and that is that do you have you ever had a moment where it's like you expressed like you showcase something that think is interesting, and then and suddenly like after the article is published, people will just show up with some of that shit in tow, and like hey man, I saw that article and thought you'd love this, and you're like, oh my god, and not more of this shit, like
I think stuff like that's happened in the past. When magazine days, I think people were because it was like kind of medium pre-internet, but internet was around, but just kind of not as strong. I think there was a lot of that, like
right,
a lot of things like that. Like having kind of like having a more aggressive fans, I guess, because there was not much. There's a lot less to latch onto.
hmm
So magazine was a big deal right before super internet stuff. So no, there's all kinds of stuff like yeah, I don't know. You write something and people are like, "Hey man, I got you one of these. Look at I did this," and they send it to you. And no, there's stuff. You it's same. You're an artist. You have fans that go, "Look, man, I did this for you. I made you cookies. I did this. I did that." Right? It's like
I
I
love
don't know.
cookies.
Yeah, I know. Me too. It's all good, man. But that's sort of kind of the fun part about sometimes it's all memories at this point. Like that doesn't happen anymore.
All right.
Or very seldom does that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, like
those.
the magazine, like we've there's it's already been another generation, a new generation has already come up
Or
without,
two, or
you
two.
know,
It feels like
or
two,
two.
right?
Yeah.
I
I
know.
mean,
Yeah.
Zoomers, Generation Z, and like Alphas. Actually, maybe even and most millennials.
Yeah, just
You
think
know,
the magazines our Giant Robot stopped in 2011 or 2020 end of 2010. The magazine industry was just dying right there, like
right,
hardcore before our eyes at 2010, right? But it was
right.
dying before that technically, but it was hitting a wall right there because I think as it Borders closed, Virgin Megastores, Tower, like
Yeah.
everything was shutting at the same time, and it was like these are all outlets for where magazines are sold. And then there's
Mhm.
newsstands that are living a very slow death. I don't know. I think they sell more cigarettes than they do magazine, maybe. Like, there's newsstands out there, and I don't know what they do to sell. Like, what do they sell? They're not selling magazines.
I used to love this. Like you go down Fairfax. Like there, I still think I'm. Well, there used to be one like right there across the street from Cantor's.
Oh, the
Uh,
Fairfax that newsstand too. I wonder. Like, I parked in front of there to go eat somewhere, and I'm like, wow, there's a newsstand, and it's pretty stocked. But I don't think anyone's buying a magazine. Like, what are they buying? Is it lotto
well,
tickets? I don't know what they're buying there.
well,
Like,
some
is it cigarettes, lotto tickets, and like how many magazines per hour are they really selling? One,
well,
two, like
it's
per hour.
probably run by one guy. He's
Yeah.
probably working with a a
Yeah.
distributor to get their stuff filled
Yes.
in.
Hundred
The
percent.
one way you would like make it work is by like offering like very niche, collectible print materials like zines or like
He
very
doesn't have no
small
zines. No zines there though. But
small
he
press.
has European magazines. He has stuff like that. But the thing is, he doesn't pay for any of that ahead of time, right? That's all like whatever gets sold is what he's making money off of. He's not paying for anything that doesn't sell. There is
Right,
that. Yeah.
right.
So
So
I'm not sure if that still is enough to support I don't
well,
know.
if you've owned
I
that
mean, if
spot,
maybe he lives in his car and he's doing all this. It's very possible.
oh, maybe
you
he's owned
know,
that spot like for the past 30 years, and he has a
maybe.
home like right by there, like, and you know,
And he just likes magazines. Yes.
and it's just like, you know what, it's keeping itself afloat, and I'm making like a little spending money. I can go and buy myself you know a sandwich at Cantor's, and
Yeah. I don't
or
know
a
when's the
bowl
last
of
one.
ball soup,
Like he
whatever.
doesn't even have. He doesn't. I don't think he even has comics there. So I don't know. I don't know really. I don't know what he's doing. I don't even know if it's still there. Is it even?
I don't
I,
know.
I haven't
It's
been there
been
in a year.
been 5 years since I
Oh, I haven't
remember.
been there. I haven't been there in like 1 year, I think.
Oh,
But that area, but like I don't know. But yeah, yeah, no, it's magazines are rough, man. And
magazines are rough.
yeah, I would say it's definitely not a good business.
Yeah, but you've got a book coming out now. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate the book isn't ready in time for the show, but
Oh, well, I don't doesn't have to all be at once, so maybe it's a good thing, but it's coming out in September. The book actually from what I understand went to print either today or it's if not it went to print today, but there we could still make small editorial corrections, but it
mm,
actually went to print today from what I
wow.
understand. Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
that book, we were trying to make, they were trying to make it 400 pages. I looked at the, when I was kind of proofing it, checking it out, 460. So,
Wow.
I made, decisions because they're saying we need to make it 400. We need to cut things. And so I was like, okay, here's what I think we should cut. And
Proof two.
now I was cutting stuff out. You weren't cut. I was cutting stuff out. And then I realized they didn't want to cut it out. Like they were just so, I think, too vested in it, where
Right.
they're just like, we're gonna keep it. And I was like, well, you can cut this one out. No one's gonna miss it. It's okay. And they left it all in. Like in
No,
this
that's great.
this everything
Great.
went through cuts already. And it's like everything I said, let's cut. They were just like, no, we need this because of this. And I was like, no one's gonna miss that. I swear, it's okay. We can cut it. And then like there are things to cut. Like I was making choices all over the place. And I was like, okay, I cut 30 something pages right here. This is 30 pages out. We can design, you could tighten it by design, but here's 30 pages out. It's okay. And they actually didn't take any of it out. I was just like,
Wow.
whoa. I mean, that was like from a month ago.
Wow.
Before that, we cut other things out that they did cut, but then, yeah, this time they didn't want to.
Wow. So,
So yeah, so it was 460. I think what I saw last. I was like, oh, it's 460 pages. Okay, I was like, shit.
150 pages. That's a lot of pages, bro. Freaking
Yeah, it's really hard to proof. Like if they give you a PDF and I'm going through the pages, I'm like, dude, I'm only like 125% in, and I'm like getting tired, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta like keep the energy up, then look at more. Then all of a sudden by the end, I'm just like, oh dude, I just did all this in like 2 hours, and there's, I didn't read it. I just kind of am looking at it, and
Are you
it's just like,
looking
oh,
mostly at like the new content and like
just for design things. But then I'm like, some things are just too much. I was like, no, this can't go. But then some things were then all of a sudden it's like editorial. I'm like, okay, there's new stuff in here. I got to make sure all the names are correct because they could be spelled wrong, and they were. I found a lot of stuff, but it's never ending. Like you'll always keep finding stuff wrong.
right, right.
Like even when we made mistakes when we published, but it keeps going. That's how it
So do
goes.
you are the older like articles that you laid out, are they using the
Re
exact same, like layout of the magazine or
Relayed out, new
completely
layout.
laid out?
Yeah, new
Really?
layout. Well, they wanted to do it. It's like they got new layouts, and I was like, all right, let's go. New layouts and fun stuff.
But what about the images? I like
Same images for the most part. There's
right.
new images and stuff in like other parts, but like the articles are using the same stuff. The content's the same.
Did you write
Just read it
like
out.
little commentaries or like introductions to some of the articles?
So there was special guests who wrote introductions for each section. Like there was a cinema, art, food, fashion, identity. Like there's like sections,
Right.
and different people wrote different things for each section. Like they're invited, kind of like, right. Jack Muramatsu wrote the designer toy, or the toy section,
Oh,
right?
cool.
Vinyl Pulse, right? I
Right.
asked him, and he took it serious and wrote like the longest piece of all everybody's submissions. It's the longest one. It's pretty thorough. I'm just like, Jack, dude, you went for it. So but he took it very serious. He was just like, I have an assignment, I'm gonna do it. And it's like, I was
Yeah,
like, yeah, man, I take you serious because you're like a toy documentarian. So go
he
for
is.
it, right? Yeah. So he took it serious and just took it to heart. But then said that there's that, and then there's photos added here and there, new things. There's a giant robot history written. Um, every contributor list, every contributor list, every artist who showed at the galleries, like all of them, in just
Hmm.
one long list, A to Z.
Oh, wow.
that list is way too long, but because it's just like you showed one little thing, you'll probably be in that list, you know.
Woo! I'm in the list.
You'll be in that list. Your article's in the, you know, your article is reprinted in there, so it's kind of the whole book, you know.
Did you include like interviews with like say Yosuke and like a lot of artists that like
I
you?
wanted to, and no, we couldn't. Like new artists, I wish, but Yosuke, I think. Oh, I'm sorry. There was commentary added. I think Yosuke added commentary, and he was interviewed for the history, although used very little. I think, you know what I mean. There's like commentary, like people wrote commentary, like small things, and that's
Mm,
like at the bottom of a page. Like the page is there. At the very bottom, there's like Randall Clark, and
references?
or no, just little things that kind of fit into what's being talked about. So it's like
Oh,
a
okay.
separate thing in there, and that's kind of neat. And then I wrote notes that got added to like different articles. Like I'm like, oh, this so and so, this happened with because of this article, this happened, and you know, stuff like that. I was able to like talk a little like whatever else happened, but I wish so. The dream, if I had another 500 pages, was to like, you know, make new editorial, but it's just like that wasn't going to happen.
Mm.
Yeah, that idea was there, and we talked about it. But man, if you're at 460 without anything really new,
But
it's like
the book, it sounds like the
next
book
time.
is a compendium of like all the like real major articles that
Yeah, it's
um
anthology, right? An anthology. It's like the greatest hits is basically what it is. So you are one of the greatest hits.
oh, I'm so
Yeah.
glad.
Takashi Murakami,
Yeah,
Yoshitomo Nara,
yeah.
Luke Chu, James Jean.
James Dean.
There were some. I mean, there's like other artists, but yeah, that's
Koyo Shimo.
Manuel Ocampo is one of them,
And you're welcome. You know, which
and there's
article
more. I just can't remember. There's like 10 artists, and I can't remember them all.
you know which article always kind of tripped me out that you interviewed or featured in the magazine, and that was Mister.
Oh, oh my God! I don't know if that's in there. Yeah, basically, Mister.
Yeah, like
Very
Mister.
scary, where he admits basically being a chomo, a child
Yeah.
molester, kind of right, but not
Or at
not
least like
no.
really into that. Like,
He didn't say he was a child molester, but he said because he does art, he doesn't molest children.
right, right.
I think
Yeah.
he says something
If he didn't
to
have his
that
art,
nature,
he would be a child molester. Is basically what
right?
he said.
And I don't know how that translates, but I remember hearing that going, this is really scary. And I remember like one of the other artists who was in that whole Super Flat show,
Yeah.
she was just like, oh, scary. She was like, oh, scary. I was like, is this really what I'm hearing here? Like, I'm so
Yeah.
is this translating? I was like, is this translating correct? Because yeah, it's very scary.
Because I love his art. I think his art
Oh,
is this
it's great.
weird
It's
slice of
cool.
life kind of like.
I just don't like the child molester part, but I mean,
Yeah,
I like the
no, I
art
read that.
itself without knowing that is
Yeah,
okay. But as soon as I heard that, I was like, this is really weird.
yeah. Like
But
this is like. Is he like just thinking like I could say this is going to go to this little magazine and put it in
I just
California.
worry that the translation was like, you know, maybe the translation was more severe than what he's saying.
Like he
I'm
kept
not sure,
putting
you know.
pictures of fucking children in his fucking wallet or some shit like that. If I ever
Did he? I
remember.
forgot. Oh man, I
Yeah.
forgot. Oh, that is very. You're right. That is a very odd one. Yeah, yeah, you're right. I
I
kind of
hope I
forgot
made
about
it.
that. I forgot
Uh,
about that. No, that's not in the book.
oh, okay.
That's
Well,
not in the book. But yeah,
I,
no, there was like 10 artists or something, or 8 or 9. I can't remember now, but
wow,
it's
that's
a
a
lot.
lot to fucking like
Maybe
trim down from, right? Like,
I don't
because
something
that's
like that. Oh, I know, right? How do you trim down? Like, how do you just gotta just eliminate a
I
bunch?
guess Sana
Sorry,
Hung there. Sana Hung
no,
was.
no,
Oh, oh no.
no. She's not. I don't. No, she's not. There's a lot
Oh,
of great ones. There's a lot of greats that aren't in.
yeah, like oh,
There
it's
are female artists in there, and I'm just, it's slipping my mind because I'm, you know, there's just so many. But yeah, there's a lot. Oh, Shizu
wow.
Saldamondo is in there. I think she's in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's more though, but yeah, I'm just kind of like, yeah, there's definitely more.
Well, I mean, like, it's also a thing of like you flip through the magazine. Is Cozy and Dan in there?
Are they in there? They're in the history part a lot. I don't know if they're in there. I don't know if there are whole
Is
articles in
David
there.
Cho in there? I mean,
He's not in
Barry
there.
McGee is. Did Barry
Barry
McGee?
McGee's in there. Barry McGee makes it.
Okay. I'm like honestly flattered that I fucking made it.
Yeah,
Like
no,
I'm
you made it. Yeah, Barry McGee is in there. There's a lot of great ones. Like I mean, they were all in a list, and it just started getting eliminated and eliminated and eliminated. And I was just like, well, I have no, like when we're making a magazine, one thing about it is, sometimes you write a long article and you're like, this needs to get cut down. It has to, and then
right,
you start trimming sentences or paragraphs, and you're trimming it. And then you realize, okay, I trimmed a bunch of stuff out. It's like getting a trim of a haircut.
right,
It's like you're taking very little off to make it look better.
right,
But what happens when you're like, dude, you need to take 3 inches of your hair off. You can't do this trim. It's bullshit. That
right,
means you're cutting paragraphs, like whole paragraphs, and cutting whole sections out.
right.
And we used to be like, okay, we can't do this trimming shit. We gotta take chunks out. We can't. We have. I mean, we have to. And that was some of the articles were always like that. We're like, we have to cut out a fucking page. So we're like, we have to just rid whole areas and just suck it up and make it. Let's hope it makes it better. And that's just how it works. You're like, this article is 1,000 words too long. We gotta take big cuts. You can't be like, let's just put like a smaller word in there instead of a longer word. That's not gonna help. You gotta really just chop shit out. And that's
Yeah.
sort of
You know
like how
what?
the book is. You make this list and you're like, oh, it's like an all-star team, and you're just like, I gotta eliminate this all-star and that all-star and this all-star, and it's like, and then we're like, oh, Luke Chu, yeah, we gotta keep him in. Not an
Oh.
all-star, but we gotta keep him in.
Yes, exactly. You got to create like some lows and those and all those. You can't just be high all the time. You got to like
I don't
dip
know. It's just
down once in a while.
it's just all over the place, man. Yeah,
You know,
tough.
it's one of my favorite things about like the about Giant Robot.
Watch
When
you
I
get
think
cut
about
out when I don't even know about it. They might cut you out.
that's fine. That's fine.
I hope
I will
not.
under,
I hope not. It's like
I
things
will
happen when I
understand.
don't even know. I'm just like, that happened.
Look,
Like you didn't tell me.
look. I
We're
ain't
gonna.
no James Jean Murakami, Yoshito Minara, Barry McGee. Freaking,
You're the best Luke Chu out there. So I'm good.
oh, thanks, Aaron.
Aw.
But
You don't
oh,
have to be any of those people.
like
Would you really want to be any? Maybe you'll take their money, maybe, but you know, you be yourself.
I would love their status, like
Oh yeah, that too. I
to
mean,
be celebrated.
take the cash
Like
and the status and be Luke Chu.
yeah, no, that's what that's I wasn't I wasn't saying anything about what they do. I was just acknowledging their status in
Yeah,
the art world.
sure.
But the things that always loved about the magazine were the small articles. Like you
Oh,
had like this guy who like had spent some time in prison and like he like does an article about making spread,
oh,
the
that's in
instant
there.
noodle.
That's in the food
Oh,
section,
oh,
right? So
fantastic.
it's
Yes.
called Pinoy prison recipes. It's like Filipino dudes in prison, and they show how they make their food. Right?
Yeah, I
That's in there.
love
That's it.
that.
That's an example. That makes it to the food section of the book. It's like that's
Okay,
food.
good.
That's a good food section. I was like, because I remember that wasn't in, and I remember explicitly I'm saying the Pinoy prison recipes got to be in the food section, and then they're
Fuck
just
yeah,
like,
that
what?
does.
And then they said they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, look it up. It's in there. And then they found it and went, oh my god, this has to be in. Like they forgot or they overlooked it. Because I remember I was
Right.
like, something's missing here, and I go, it's that prison recipe one. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Like that. Didn't you like do an article about like an Asian porn star that had a 10-inch dick or something like that?
Brandon Lee. He's in the book.
Yes. It's
He's in the
funny.
book. His name's Brandon Lee, and he's in the book.
I was cleaning up my old bedroom and I
Uh-oh.
found like this
Oh no. Porno?
bag.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be porn. I was like, oh, magazine
No,
porn?
no, like I'm
Oh.
look at these old ones. These are so good.
Oh yeah,
Chow
issue
Yun
6.
Fat, man.
That's
Chow
a good
Yun
one.
fucking Fat.
That I think that's in the. I think his interview's in the book. Yeah, it is. He's
Tony
also in the book.
Leung.
He's in the book. He
Tony
makes it.
Leung. Yeah.
He makes it.
Excellent.
Devil Robots did not.
Oh no! And look at this. Look, this is one of the most classic covers
I
Of
don't know
all
if they make it. I can't. You know what? At the moment, I totally don't remember if they're in or not. I don't remember.
fucking look at this
I
fucking
know. I
Barry
know.
McGee. Barry McGee is fucking amazing. I mean, he made it. And then you
Oh
got
yeah, he makes it.
look at that. You got
Jeff
Ryan McGinnis.
McFetridge.
Was
Jeff
it what?
McFetridge. Does
Oh,
Jeff
Jeff
McFetridge make it?
McFedrick.
I don't know. I don't know if he makes it in the book. He
Oh
might not have made it.
no!
He might not have made it.
Wow.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Yeah. I just I thought
Wow.
I
That's all
didn't
you have though?
no I've got that's just the fucking the top of this bag. The rest of
Oh
this
my god.
bag
Oh wow, you have an issue 4? Oh, okay. Wait. If you
yeah
have a 4, I see an 11
a
right behind
4.
it.
I've got a
Oh, 3.
I've got a 3.
3.
Like,
Wow.
this is my
Wait a
one of my
second here. Do you know how you got all this?
from you.
Remember, we went through the shed. We pulled out every fucking box from the shed so you can get every issue of the mag,
Yep.
or as much as
Yep.
we could. And it was
Yep.
like a long ass process.
Oh, it was an entire evening of
Yeah, yeah.
me.
We pulled out every. So you know that shed now is all metal shelves, like stainless steel rack shelves.
Right.
Everything's like everything's off the ground and organized.
Oh,
And then
good.
there's rack, and that old office is now all rack shelves with more magazine boxes all off the ground and organized by number.
Oh, good. Good. Good.
But there are some issues that are extremely low. Like I have 5 copies each left, and that's it.
Like the Luke
You know.
Chu issue.
No, that one I have. I mean, 15. But like the Adrian Tomine one, number 49,
Uh huh.
I think there's like 5 or 4 or 3, like barely any.
Do I even
And then
have one?
it's kind of got a pink cover and a pink on the top. And then Megan, what's her name? Megan, the one who lives in Highland Park. Megan, the one that does like little uh Bigfoots and shit. Number 57. Megan, forgot her last name. Number 57 and 49 are the 2 rarest issues.
57 because I know I felt like mine was kind of hard to find. It was hard for me
Yours
to
is hard to find. It's hard to find, but I mean, I might have 15, maybe 20. But
right.
yeah, the other ones where I'm like, I'm done. Like less than 5 is 49 and 57.
49 and 57. I'm gonna have to
Those are extreme rare. Like man, if someone had one for $5, I would buy it. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna buy it. If it was $20, maybe not. But I mean, $5, I would buy it. I'd be like, dude, I'm buying that shit because it's worth it. And the people just don't know, but those are the 2 rarest right now. Where I'm like, wow, yeah, that's like you're in your 20s right there. I think.
I'm
right
in my 20s. Here's 21, 20.
Believe it or not, I remember the numbers on a lot of them. So
that's amazing. Yeah, that's.
Oh, you know, that was my life. So it's like I lived through those. Like like you can kind of go through and you remember what was happening in your life when you look at the cover. I look at the cover and I'm like, okay, I lived here. This person was my girlfriend. I just, we did this, and this, and I could look through the magazines and remember all that. But then it gets blurry after a while.
Right. Of course it does. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. It's a long time ago.
it was. I mean, 10 years ago, I could barely fucking remember what the fuck was going on. I honestly, I'm beginning to think that like the reason why my memory is such garbage is because of fucking microplastics.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
So that actually messes with your memory?
No, I don't know. This is my theory.
I was gonna say, but our body has got microplastics in it, like from food and stuff, right?
Right. You know, my mom has a carafe, that an insulated carafe where she like pours boiled water into it, so she has like boiled water whenever or really hot water whenever she wants it to like refill her teas and stuff like that.
Is it a container with a top on it?
Yeah, and I unscrewed the top and I flipped it over, and it's a plastic top, and I was like, oh, this looks weird, and I rubbed my top on it, and like it's a black plastic top, and it was like tiny microscopic, like a gray film was on my finger, and what I think is the plastic breaking down from the heat,
Yeah.
and so I've been drinking I've been drinking out of that fucking carafe, refilling my teas with my tea.
So that's the ones you know about. But then there's probably microplastics in all the other food you eat anyway.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like fish and stuff. It probably is. Oh, right,
Wait,
right. But yeah, I'm sure there's microplastic in it all. But yeah, that one
I'm
is
gonna
different because yeah,
wait. Giant robot.
you don't have
Uh,
50, 49 and 57 are the rarest. Wait, why am I
49.
telling everybody? Everybody, 49, there's plentiful. Just send them to me. 50.
Yes, yes, yeah. Just
No, I have
oh,
a
I
small. I
don't think
very
I have the Adrian Tomei one and 57.
57 has got pink and something like mountains and little Bigfoots. I
Uh,
forgot her. I'm like
57 is whatchamacallit, David
I'm
chose
blank.
Obama.
Oh, is it really
Yeah.
57? It's not 57. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Then I forgot the number. 50 was
Mm,
it 54? I
54.
forgot. I'm sorry. It's basically I forgot her name, but it's the yeah, an
James
artist
Dean
too.
is 54.
54. My bad. I've told you that I just failed on my numbering there.
I'm
There
looking
you
at
go.
the
Is it
50
maybe it's is it 64? I don't know.
64.
And
Oh,
I know 60 I know 67. The issue
all
before
right.
yours is very rare.
Get a sneak peek of the cover of the book already on Amazon, I think.
Yeah,
Let me see. Yeah,
you could look it on Amazon. It's there.
and it looks good.
Anyway,
It looks good. It's got the fucking GR2 store and
yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, I'm honored that the book's coming out and they worked. You know, it's like one of those things that I'm glad they took it on because I don't think I would have done it myself and it's like, you know, just really a miracle that they decided to do it and then you know, they have to put they're investing in it really, right? They put a
mm-hmm.
lot of money, time and effort into it, so, you know, I'm super stoked. But also
Yeah,
they're good at it. You know, like one thing about it is if I made this book, let's say I made it myself,
right.
I'd be printing them.
Mm-hmm.
I will have a living room full of them, and it's like piecemeal. I would be trying to sell them, whereas you know, like Drawn and Quarterly has a whole distribution system in place, and this, you know, they already know like, oh, we're gonna print X amount of these. They're gonna go to all these stores already. You know, they have a
Mm.
whole like press machine, that whole thing that does press. They have like all of that shit. So
Oh, really? So they're doing all they're not taking it to China. They're printed, it's all being printed in China,
no, no,
right?
no, no. I'm sorry. They'll print it in China, but I'm saying is they'll do the PR part of it, the press to get
Right,
the word out. They do
right,
that pretty well, actually.
right,
Like
right,
they're
right,
actually really excellent at that. So it's like they're really tiny staff, and they do a lot with a tiny staff, and they handle their books really well. Like they don't just make books that go nowhere. They put a lot of effort. Even a little comic that they'll like set up a book tour for a comic, you know, a single issue of a comic. I mean, a mini book tour.
do you think you
They
should be
work
doing
they
full
work hard.
touring?
I think
Oh,
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
They're supposed to have events in LA, San Francisco, New York. And
Excellent.
yeah, I don't know, like maybe even more than that, but they're talking about it already to like how to do this or what are we going to do? And you know. So yeah, whatever. We're trying.
That's that's great. That's great that
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
like that infrastructure. I'm
Yeah.
like
And that's supposed to be
I-
September 15th, I think, is when it's coming out, that book. So,
yeah, I
yeah,
just had
forever.
I just self-produced my first toy.
Yeah,
Uh,
congratulations.
thank you. The low
Yes.
fidelity figure, and let me grab it really quick. It's this guy, and not sure how
Yeah.
blurry he's looking, and I am now right now I'm trying to figure out wholesaling, and like there's so much I had to fucking like research. Like, do I charge sales tax on wholesale? I don't.
No.
Do I have, like, how do I accept what kind of payment? What's the most effective way to do receive payments? Blah blah blah. And I'm just like, oh my god, like I should. There's so many other things I need to be doing right now.
Yeah, it's a learning process, right?
Right, right. And then like, I paid for I had them shipped on a slow boat from China to um the United States, and then I had it shipped from the port, I think in Long Beach, to my apartment, and
Oh, I don't know why that's funny, but something about this sounds funny.
um, like apparently it's supposed like the cost for shipping on the boat was like about $1,600 something for 3 pallets, and then it cost me double to freaking have it like transported from,
Really?
yeah, it
Oh,
was,
that sounds odd.
yeah, it was, yeah, so like basically 1600 and 1600,
Wow. Wait,
to,
to go from couldn't you just I mean, I know it's a lot, but was it I guess rent a van and just go get them type of thing or that was just like out of the picture?
that was out of the picture.
Oh, was
Yeah.
it in customs and you had to clear it from customs by hiring somebody? Did they include that service?
Yes. Yeah, I
Because
think so.
there's that, and I think you have to pay for what do they call? There's an customs agent. You have to hire your own customs agent or something like
Yeah,
that.
basically
And
like
you could
we,
clear it yourself. Self clearing exists, but they actually don't want you to do that. They want you to spend money for some reason to hire a person. It's really shady.
yeah, and they will charge you per hour. It fucking like sits there, so
Yeah, I think Lap knows how to do it.
oh really?
Well, because his family business includes coral, like live coral for
Oh,
aquariums,
right.
and he goes to LAX and clears shit out of customs and gets it all done. I
Oh
don't know if
no.
he would help you, but I'm saying is he knows how to do it, and I don't
Right.
think because I've done it before. When I was getting, I had something shipped from Asia, and I remember it was a lot of it. I go there, and then the guy, I was like a noob, and I show up, and the guy looks at me and goes, "You need to be hiring a customs agent to do this for you." And I was
Mm.
like, "No, I could just do it myself. I don't need to." Blah blah blah. And he just looks at me, and he's just like, "You got to hire a customs agent." And I was like, "But I don't have to." And it was, but they just want you to. Like it's like
Were
they
you able to get your stuff out?
I did, but he just says next time just hire a customs agent. Like he was like, don't do this yourself. And I was like, but I'm allowed to, but they don't encourage it. Like they
Mm.
want you to. It's like they want your money to go to somebody else, and they know that guy probably, and it makes their job easier.
Right, that's like
You know.
union stuff, and I get it, and that,
Yes, yes, yes. But
and
then
I'm
you paid 16. But then you paid $1,600 twice.
yeah,
And
yeah.
how much did that customs agent guy get? $1,000 probably
Who knows?
or
Who knows?
more. Yeah. And then he
Yeah.
put it in his pickup truck and took it to your house.
No, well, no,
I'm,
they hired
I'm kidding. I don't know.
it was kind of pathetic because they literally showed up with a freaking a big old you know like diesel freaking truck,
Gotcha. Yeah.
and I met them outside and they opened up the back and they're like way in the back of the fucking truck was just these 3 pallets of my stacked up in my figure,
Yeah.
and apparently they're going to charge me like I don't know, like either it was either 25 or $50 per pallet if I didn't return the pallets.
Really?
Yeah.
God, man.
So as soon
That's
as it
more
showed
union shit.
up, I was scrambling to get these things off the pallets
Wow.
um,
Yeah.
just to
So back in the magazine days, same thing. At the when our magazine would be done, and we're waiting for our copies because the copies that they go to all the distributors, leftovers come to us, and they came to the garage right in the neighborhood, and a
Mhm.
big truck would come, a big one, like
Yeah,
not an 18 wheeler because that's like two things, right? But it was just a single one, but one of
yeah,
those things that has like multiple tires everywhere, right?
yeah, like
And,
yeah.
and I'm like, and they're like driving, and then they're trying to find where to go, and then I'm like waving, and they're like, "Fuck, we're delivering to a little house. Like, where's the dock?" I'm like, "There's no dock. You're putting it on the street. We'll put it on the street. I got it from there." And it's like they're reversing and shit on because it's in a corner. So they
Yeah.
would pass the house, reverse in a turn, and I'm like, "You're using all of your driving school skills to like get this thing to near to my back door." And it was amazing though, because I'm like, wow, it never came in a small truck. It always came in a gigantic one. And that's just the way it got delivered every time. And I'm like,
How many
I'm
pallets
sure
was
that
in one thing?
just sometimes one pallet with like 1,000 pounds of magazines on it, right? Or more. But
Right.
the truck would be enormous. And I'd be like, dude,
Right. Your magazines are
that
so heavy.
yes, they're like
So
I believe they're about 9 ounces each. Like,
Right.
a pound is 16, right? So it's under a pound, but it's about 9 or 10 ounces or something for a magazine.
Right.
So just think, one magazine's 1 pound, 1,000 copies. You're getting a lot of magazines. So yeah, it's rough.
Is that what the general print run of the magazine was?
No, we would get anywhere from 400 to 1,000 copies
Oh, okay.
into our back door. But no, I think so. This is magazines are so shady, including us. I think the biggest run we ever did was 27,000 copies.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that was the biggest run. I don't think we ever hit 30. It was like 20. Sounds like it sounds so for a magazine person, it sounds really tiny, but to me, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then, and by all counts, if you look at other small magazines, I think we were huge, like compared,
Sure.
because a lot of because the whole thing is it's a game. It's the worst thing to say right now, and I'm gonna spill it. Don't kill me, but it's a game of lies, right? You say, hey, I print 200,000 because you tell that to an advertiser, they're like, oh shit, my ad's gonna go to 200,000 hands.
Right.
Every magazine out there did that.
Right.
But I didn't say 200,000.
You're like,
we were not
our run is 50,000 or something like that.
right, and that's like the most honest lie ever, because people would say 250,000, and I'm like, well, we got 50,000. Like,
Yeah.
My lie was almost pointless. I might as well have just said we did 10,000 at that point. It didn't matter. It was too little. I needed to say 250,000.
Wait, so you have said 250,000?
No, I haven't. No, I didn't. I'm saying is I did numbers too small. Like, we were too honest. So we didn't get the killer ads because we were too small. If we said 250,000, yeah, we would have got more ads, or 400,000. I mean, we could have just said that. And who's to say, yay or nay? But no, we were much smaller. Every magazine was smaller.
Right.
I mean, nobody tells the truth, but and some of the.
No, I was just saying, except for maybe like some periodicals, like Time and Newsweek or whatever,
Yeah. So, but like some of the other ones, like I think Vice, I think we printed more than Vice did. Vice was free, right?
Right.
But like there was a point where you couldn't find that thing, and it was only at certain stores, so it felt like there was a lot. But like, go to the other stores that don't have Vice. That's all the rest of the stores, which is the majority. Most didn't have Vice.
Right.
And it's free. It's free. So newsstands really didn't have them either. So it was one of those things that's like, it looked like it was everywhere, but really it was just where you went. It was because you were a cool guy.
I totally got the impression that Vice was a fucking a rinky-dink mag. It was just a lot of money was spent in this production, and
I bet you it was smaller than us, maybe. And maybe it might have been smaller. A lot of magazines were. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, like what kind of fucking person fucking like spends fucking like.
And they probably lied and said they made 250,000 copies or 500,000 or something, and maybe they printed 20,000 or less.
Right.
Yeah, it's the game. All of these guys, everybody did that. I hate to say, nobody told the truth.
What's the run size of the book?
Oh, that I think the first run is 10,000 copies. So
okay,
yeah. But one thing different though, I guess, in our benefit is when you bought Time magazine. If you ever bought Time or Newsweek, you might have bought it. I don't know.
Yeah.
You read it. What did you do with it? Threw it away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why the fuck? Why you fucking got a whole bag of giant robots for? Because you don't want to throw that away, right?
I love giant robots.
And you might show it to other people, and they show it to other people. So we had like this different thing where it's like there's a thing called a pass along rate.
Right.
Our rate of people showing it to their friends was really high. I think. You buy one copy might go to many different people's eyes. Time magazine, you look at it and you probably throw it away. You're the only one that looked at it, right? It didn't go to anyone else. So there's that difference too, is that we had this, it's called a pass along rate. I bet you ours was extremely high. And, and then other magazines, very, very low. Like, did you share your A magazine that you bought? The Asian magazine? I don't think people shared that, right? You bought it. You didn't share it with no one. You bought it. You fucking shelved it or you threw it away. Giant Robot, people didn't throw it away. They kept it around. And, if you add that into our circulation, then, okay, our number's legitimately way bigger.
Right.
if you add that to circulation,
I
yeah,
didn't know about how does one measure that? Like,
it's
as a
just making surveys. I mean, we did surveys. I mean, our own surveys just to see about what we thought it would be, so we can
right.
have a legit number. So if you said, "Oh, pass along rate of 6," maybe that's legit. Like 6 people. Did 6 people look at your giant robot? Maybe. But whereas time, 0, just you,
Yeah,
1, and
it's
then
just
you throw it
you,
away,
or
right?
maybe
Maybe even Rolling Stone,
partner
roll,
or
right,
your kid. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
or friends, but Rolling Stone magazine, you might have bought it, maybe, or Spin. I don't think you showed it to anybody. You might have thrown it away after that, or kept it, but you might not have shown anyone. But it's like
I'm
the
also
same thing.
I
But a
still
port,
have old I still have old B-side
yeah,
magazine.
there's cool magazines. I have a bunch of skateboard magazines, and I still have them from like 25 years ago.
Right,
But
right.
like porno, no pass along rate. You kept that shit to yourself, right? So
Well,
porno has no pass along rate. Did you share that with your friends? Hey, bro, look at this asshole. You didn't do that.
if I had an awkward freaking nephew, I still-
Hey, hi nephew. Here, look at this anus. I want you to have
here,
this. This anus
here,
is
like,
just so stellar. You need to have this.
of
No,
course,
maybe.
that nephew of mine will roll their eyes and go, "I can get porn off of this," and they'll
Oh,
show me the
internet.
yeah.
I know, but I'm saying is back in the day, if you bought a porn or got a porn, you probably just stashed it in your somewhere. You hid
You
it.
know what you
Nope.
do with porn?
Nobody saw it but you.
I'll tell you what you do. You take it, you put it in a box, and you put it in the field. You put it in the field where, like, some random
No.
kid is gonna fucking find it, and then fucking like, grab it and like, and take it and hide it underneath their bed because that was the way things were when
You
we
what
were
you
young.
so you found porno in a field?
I have found
This is
porn.
so weird.
I have found like so when I was living in Fresno, there used to be this canal that like went like that like bordered where like one of the Fresno State fields, were, and you'd find like porno mags and stuff like that where you'd think like maybe like some of the older kids fucking like
Hey, pass
like were like looking at them, and then like maybe an adult came by and they just like fucking left them down there and ran.
a pass along rate. There it is. The pass along rate.
There's your
It's
porno
alive.
pass on.
It's alive and well. If there was a Time magazine, the kids wouldn't take it, so no pass along rate. Porno mag, they'll take it, so there's a pass along rate. Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
See, there you go. That makes
Absolutely.
sense. Yeah. Newsweek. No, I'm not going to take it. But porn,
Yeah.
maybe. You'll be like, oh,
Porn,
I'm taking that shit.
porn and giant robot guys. Porn and giant robot.
Right? I don't know. It's
That's interesting.
anyways, in that way, I actually believed our circulation earned a higher number, frankly. But uh, yeah. So we would always like So if I didn't feel as bad about saying, hey, our circulation is 50,000 or 60,000 or whatever, because I know our pass along rate was actually really strong. But yeah, it's still a completely fabricated number.
I have
So there's
we're
that.
running out, we are running out of
I
time.
know.
Time.
I'm sorry.
I have a little question, and that is, I remember like one of the other things I enjoyed reading in your magazine was I think you would have letters. You would publish like some letter stuff, and like you would get letters from prisons, and
Oh, yes.
and then like so is the guy who like showed you how to make the the spread the prison like the prison snacks someone that also might have written into the magazine, or like how'd you meet this
He
guy?
no, that was a person who somebody who wrote for the magazine. That was her like cousin or something like that.
Oh,
So that's why so she kind of like worked with him to get this article done. Yeah, yeah.
oh.
So no, that's how it got done. She's a journalist actually, so she was just like, this is gonna be fun. I was like, perfect. So the funniest part is, there's a person named Francine at Drawn and Quarterly. She's an editor there or associate editor. I'm not sure of her title, but
Mm,
she read every copy of Giant Robot, and so she was very versed in the entire run. And she said, there are themes that run throughout the magazine, and one of them is incarcerated people, because you guys had a fascination with people in jail or prison, and you kept going back to it over and over and over. So that means people from prison would write to us, or we would do something about someone in prison and write about it. and it just said the prison thing kept coming up. So like there was always some kind of a, it kind of kept coming back. So for
That's weird
example,
thread about
yeah.
incarceration. Interesting.
So Wayne Lowe, the school shooter, is actually going to be in the book. He makes it because that's an article that they really thought was interesting at Drawn and Quarterly, and that makes it into the book.
Wait, which
And
school did?
he was at a school called Simon's Rock College, which is in the Berkshires. What is that? Is that Massachusetts? The Berkshires, yeah.
Oh,
It's a small private school. There's a guy named Wayne Lowe. He wore a shirt. The famous thing was he wore a shirt of that hardcore band, Sick of It All.
right.
And he, schizophrenic. It says he's schizophrenic, and he actually shot and killed 2 people with I think, an assault rifle on campus.
Mm.
And of course, he doesn't kill himself, and he still lives today. He's he's a pen pal, part time. Like I still write to this guy, and
Oh,
he'll
wow.
write, yeah, and he's he says that he explains it all, and he says that a lot of people want his story, but he said that like TV wants his story, like it's always like a TV thing, but anyway, he's still around. But yeah, as an example, the prison thing, she points it out and says, yeah, you had a fascination with prison, or prisoners liked you or something. It kept going on and on. So yeah, there's these weird themes. Yeah, and that's one of the themes. And then another person said we had a whole thing about big guys. So like sumo was always in there, or a big dude here, or a tall person there.
Oh,
So
wow.
like we had a lot of like a weird fascination with big people. So yeah, we always had big people in it for some reason. Really odd. But yeah, I
So,
didn't. It's all unintentional. But it's like after the fact, people would tell us.
wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I didn't
Yeah,
know I
well,
had a fascination
like
with prison and
prison,
big people.
prison is always a fascinating thing, and
Oh
also
yeah,
like especially like because we hear so much about it from the perspectives of white people, black people, and Mexican people. Through what American entertainment, and stuff like that, like mafia shit, like
yeah.
you
Gang
hear about.
stuff, right? Gang
Yeah,
stuff.
but that like Asians go to the fucking prison too, and so it's kind of
Yep.
it's like what about those guys? Like what's it like?
Wayne, but he's like a weird outlier, kind of. But yeah, he's a smart guy. Like if you go to Simon's Rock, I think you had to be like a prodigy of some sort, and I think he went to college as a youngster. Like he was like 15 or something, or he was really young.
Hmm.
But yeah, so he, I think he was like a genius kind of a kid, and then definitely schizophrenia happens, and but yeah, just so then he tells me, but this guy, like, man, there was so many. I was gonna make a zine of all the letters that he wrote me,
Hmm.
and it's so I have them somewhere, but they were so fucked up. He burned his letters, like all the ones I wrote to him. He said I threw them away because I don't want to get in trouble. Because
What were you writing him?
we were talking so much shit. It was talking shit to the max. Like, like I was asking him every dirty question I could about prison I could think of, and repeating it, and then accusing him of doing it and being like, dude, you've done that, you lying sack of shit. And he'd be like, no, I didn't. I'd be like, dude, you went to prison. You're a virgin. Because I read that in another book that said you were. He was like, bullshit, I'm not, blah, blah, blah. And he would just go back and forth of antagonizing each other. It was harsh, right? He was antagonizing me. I'd antagonize him back. And then he told me this whole story about he's like wore that Sick of It All shirt. He goes, I didn't even like hardcore. I just put on a t-shirt. I didn't, and that became like this thing, right? That like the news caught onto it because it's a Sick of It All, and it's like, and he shot 2 people, and it's a
Right.
hardcore band called Sick of It All. But the media thought it's just I'm wearing a shirt that says Sick of It All, and he's like, this guy's into hair metal. Like he's into Sebastian Bach, that dude. Like he likes long hair
Right.
metal. Loves it. Like he likes all that stuff. And then like so he starts a band in prison, and they're playing hair metal because he's like a musical prodigy, because he was a music guy,
Oh,
violinist. So he starts a band in prison. They become like the prison rock stars, right? And he's singing, like he sings too, and he's singing Sebastian Bach, like what that song is, I don't know,
So he's not really like
not Johann Sebastian Bach, but the metal guy.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
then I'm like, what happened to the band? He goes, dude, the guitar player got caught getting a blowjob. He got caught in prison getting a blowjob. The band broke up after that.
Oh, wow.
I was like, Rockstar Blues right there. I was like, whoa, isn't
What
that
did he
funny?
play? What did he play? What
He
instrument
was
did
a
he play?
guitar player. He was a guitar player. Oh, so the guy I know, he played keyboards and he sang. And then the guitar player said, after they had their gig that was like raging in prison, that the guy was the guitar player's getting a blowjob, and they got caught. And then the band broke up. I was like, what? I was like, what? That's like rock stars in prison. That's what happens. Anyway,
Wow.
that anecdote was funny though, because that's like after I was just like, oh shit.
Dude, I mean, like, it's a crying shame that you don't have like both have copies of what you sent him.
Yeah, he burned them all. He goes, dude, because at one time I think I joked around and I said, dude, I should just turn all this in and see what happens to you. And then he freaked out and he like threw away everything that I ever wrote. But I still have
Oh,
everything he wrote to me.
wow.
I just was
Wow.
joking. I was like, I'm gonna turn this in, see what happens. Like being a total snot.
Well, I mean, like, you know what? Is he ever going to get released?
He said he doesn't want to ever get released, but then he said that they're trying to get people out of prison where he's at. So
Mm,
there's a small chance that he might be up for it at some point, but he said that he pretty much is resigned to never leaving prison.
mm,
Like he
mm.
said for a while, he was saying, I don't want to leave. Like, this is my life. Like, I don't want to go anywhere.
Right.
But he said that now, yeah, they're talking about trying to get people out of prison where he's at. So I don't know.
Mm, mm.
I mean, I told him, there's a chance that something might happen for you. Maybe you'll get out eventually. And he said, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not counting. He's not counting on it.
How old is he now?
Probably 45 ish. I don't know. Something like that. Or maybe 50 around
Young,
there.
kind of young, kind of
45, 50.
young. I think I had. I
You
was
could look.
looking.
You could look him up. You could look him up. Wayne Lowe, Lo.
You know, I
Yeah,
saw he killed
his
a
brother sells
professor, and
his brother sells golf clubs.
wow, Wayne
His
Lowe.
dad, his mom and dad lives in Montana, I think.
He's
But yeah,
40. He might have just turned 50.
yeah, something like that.
No, he's 49. He's 49.
Okay, I
Yeah,
should write to him. It's been a second.
yeah.
It's free now too in his state, Massachusetts. I believe writing to prisoners no longer costs money if you use the internet system.
Oh,
Like
does
there's an
he?
internet system, and you could use that. And I could write him a letter like tonight, and he'll probably get it in a day or two. But it doesn't. It's free now. It used to cost money. He goes, "It's free. You can write me as much as you want." I'm like, but it was only like a nickel anyway. Like because I think I was writing on the internet, and then some company takes all of the letters and like kind of they sort it and handle it right.
Right.
I think it was like literally a nickel or something. Anyway, I was like, it's no different.
Wait, so you would have to like how would they charge that? Like not in the
Uh,
postage.
for me,
Yeah.
I just paid $5 at a time, and then I could write like a shitload of letters anytime I want, and basically like an email. And then they probably print it out on paper and mail it to them or something. And I don't know how
Right.
they lose or make money. I don't. I might have been a state thing. Maybe that's run by the state, but now it's free. They
Yeah.
pay for the
I
state.
mean, they probably let like depending on like what your flight risk, how
He's
risky
he's
you
in
are.
minimum security, I think now.
Yeah. Yeah. That means that like they will let them use a computer to, you know.
Uh yeah, I think it's very limited. I
But
think.
you'll yeah. Like, but
No,
I
he can't
imagine
use
that.
he can't use the internet. He can
Oh,
call his friend on the phone, and his friend can surf and tell him what he sees, type of thing.
really?
He
Huh.
he can't just surf Google. He can't do that.
Oh,
No, he
I
can't
thought
Google
that.
like he can't Google Luke Chu and see you. Not in his. He can't do it.
Oh, okay.
He can get on the phone and ask his friend to like Google Luke Chu, tell me what it says. That kind of a thing.
All right. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. He has no access to do that kind of stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, no. That'd be dangerous.
Is it? I don't know. I'm obviously like it's easy to like to block porn and stuff like that out.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he'll like, I don't know. Maybe he'll just make him crazy by doing that. Maybe it's better he don't.
Right, right. Does he feel like he's being rehabilitated?
Oh, he said absolutely not. He's never had one treatment for schizophrenia since he's been in prison. And he said that he was definitely seeing things, hearing things, and all this shit. That's why he did all that. And he said he never once got any treatment the whole time.
That's a crying shame.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I was like, whoa, they never. He said, yeah. So he was diagnosed by doctors, but yeah, there's not one bit of treatment.
Hmm.
So yeah,
No.
that's the harsh life of that system.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't give a shit. That's lesson to your lesson. Don't go to prison.
Well, no, that's the thing,
I
right?
mean,
Like like in an ideal world, it would be great if like people like if we did use Prism as a system to reform like
that's what they do in
criminals.
other countries. Maybe in other countries, not South America, I guess, because those prisons look scary. But the ones
Right,
like in Denmark or something, or
right.
Sweden, and I
Yeah.
think they probably do a, I don't know.
Have certain
Yeah, they,
programs that help people
yeah,
fucking like like
yeah,
gain accrue like skill like skills that can be used in like society and whatever. But like America, this the conservative values that we like to that like have such a
yeah,
huge presence in this country are have we have this like 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 pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of attitude, and it's like, well,
Plus, also, I think the prisons are a lot more private too, right?
and that's another thing.
Yeah,
Prisons are also private, and they're just
it's like
taking,
private school. It's like private school, you know.
yeah, it's yeah, they're
Give me
not.
that tuition.
That like the line between like reform reforming people and punishing people is this fucking weird one.
Yeah, it's
And
weird, right?
so
Yeah.
whatever.
Lesson. Don't go to prison, or
Don't go to
try not to
prison.
go. Try not to go.
Try not to go. Try to
No.
stop yourself from doing stuff that will fucking land you in that shithole,
Oh my
because it's
god.
not fun. It's not fun. That's
No.
that's that's a takeaway from today's
That's
episode.
the lesson. The
Uh,
art show Biennale on Friday in a couple days. And don't go to prison.
Don't go to prison. Also, Luke Chu Low Fidelity figure available now at lukechustore.com.
Yes, Luke Chew Store. Oh, it's not. It's LukeChewStore.com.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah, yeah.
You don't have
He's,
LukeChew.com?
I have that.
Oh, okay.
I just kept the Shopify store with that domain,
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
I also
And then
like
you
I took down my entire website, and I just have a throw up page that
awesome.
links directly to the fucking store.
And what
So
happens if they buy it from you? What comes in the box? Like you get the figure. Is there do you sign the box? Do you sign the figure? Do you do
oh,
anything like that?
dude, like that, all that shit fucking takes a lot of time for me to fucking do. Like, so you get the figure.
Is
There
there
you
a
go.
letter like, "Hey man, thanks so much for ordering, your buddy Luke."
Dude, no,
No.
no,
Okay, I wasn't sure.
no. I actually thought about fucking like adding that option to my fucking
Oh,
like.
personalized letter checkbox.
No. If you pay
Hey,
me a
bro.
dollar, if you pay me a buck or two, I'll sign the box. If you pay me $5, I'll sign the figure. You know,
Did you do it?
no, I didn't do it
Oh.
because we got fucking slammed. It was. I'm very very
It's a
happy about.
good problem. Luke got
Yeah,
slammed with orders.
yeah. Like we got like 350 orders, freaking, to deal with. It's been fucking kind of nuts. Like every
Do
day we're,
you have cardboard boxes everywhere?
dude. Uline. I have visited Uline like several, like 3 times, in the past week.
You drove there?
No, no. I ordered from them, but
Oh,
like
okay.
I ordered boxes. I ordered boxes in December, like because I wasn't sure whether or not the figure was going to sell out at a Designer Con. Fortunately, it's sold out. But then, because if it didn't sell out, that I wanted to be able to like get them out the door, like as soon as get them out and online. as soon as decon was over. But that didn't happen. And then the order showed up in the end of January. All my figures showed up at the end of January. So I ordered some more boxes to kind of facilitate like a potential, like my Discord, who I s-
Wow.
I
Oh,
sold
Luke.
to first, and then which with whom I did sign the boxes for,
Oh.
and then like I had to order a whole bunch of fucking boxes when I took it online to the public.
Congrats.
Yeah, I was shocked. I didn't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect. It's a fucking gamble. You know this. Fucking when you
Yeah.
produce the fucking
Yeah.
toys.
Oh, of course. But yours at $88 passed with flying colors. It sounds like. Holy
that-
smokes.
I used the eights. I used lucky number
Yeah.
8 there.
Maybe try also maybe next time Paper Mart and price compare with Uline. Maybe Paper Mart's good.
Mm.
They're in Los Angeles. Also, uh, maybe they're not like Uline though. Uline has Donald Trump ads in their catalogs. I mean, it's
Whatever.
there. It's there. It's there. I don't know. It's weird that they're a political company, and I was just like, I don't want to deal with that. So I switched to Paper Mart.
You go to Paper Mart.
I use Paper Mart instead because Uline started putting Donald Trump ads in there because they wrote a whole letter about Donald, like how they just support Donald Trump.
I just throw those catalogs away
Oh,
when
I don't want those catalogs, but as soon as I saw that, I'm like, not. It's just weird that like you politicized cardboard boxes. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, I knew that they were
So
conservative.
it's okay if you're conservative, but just like, yeah, all of a sudden it becomes like this weird political thing, and I'm like, dude, leave politics out of cardboard boxes, please.
Right. Yeah.
You could be conservative. I don't give a shit, but just don't. Yeah, I don't know. I want to buy
as
my
much as
cardboard boxes in peace.
as much as I fucking like don't I am not a fan of conservatism, and I doubly hate fucking Trump. Like I
But
you know
but
they
Uline's
make
fucking
a
good at what they
fucking
do.
they make a fucking great box.
No,
They
Uline is really good at what they do. That's the thing. They're really good. They're the best at it, frankly.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
they're
are.
really fucking good, and
Yeah,
I'm just
they're
like,
excellent. They're excellent at it, except for that part. I was like, why are you politicizing cardboard?
yeah,
Cardboard's
yeah.
good without politics. Keep the politics out of cardboard, please. But it's not really that.
Let me see.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
But it's all good, man. Whatever.
I don't even see the size. I don't even see the sizes that I'm looking for. I mean, like,
The Paper Mart website's not as good. I mean, there's just a ton of things
no,
wrong.
it fucking
It's
sucks.
not.
I'm like,
It it does suck, but you get used to it sucking, and then it works.
I'm
But they're
trying
not
to
as good. They're not as good. That is the bottom line. I suffer from that, but that's who I buy from now.
10 by
But
5 by 7 by
but
7.
some of Uline's I think shipping prices might be a lot higher than Paper Mart. But I think paper,
Yeah,
all that's
their shipping prices are high.
everything's gotten expensive. But there was a while where Paper Mart shipping was actually free, and I was like, oh, it's free, and they had their own truck that would just drive to you and drop off free shit.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it used to be free. It's sometimes they have $12 deals where it's like shipping is $12 depending on how big, but they do. If your stuff's not oversized, it's $12. That's
Oh my
pretty good.
God,
That's a
this
special.
website sucks so
It's
much.
it does, and it's frustrating, but maybe not use your
Oh,
phone. Don't use your phone. You'll
yeah, I
die.
can't use. Yeah, the
Yeah,
phone.
yeah.
I'm trying to like find sizes, and I'm just like,
Oh, it's not as good. Like Ulines is a refined ass website. They have it down, but Paper Mart doesn't. But then sometimes it's cheaper. Like sometimes Uline's really expensive. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but it's all good, man. Whatever.
Okay, well,
But
if I could find,
the whole point is, you sold a lot of figures.
I sold a lot of figures.
I mean,
A lot of figures.
you've got the power.
I'm lucky. I was able to pay off the money I paid for the production of this figure, with this, and
And tons of profit.
no, not that Eric Nakamura prophet, but like
Tons of Luke Shu profit.
but
Oh,
like
congrats. That's a tough task, man. Very good.
yeah, I feel very
Fuck
fortunate.
yeah. Fuck
So
yeah. Damn.
um,
Okay. So we went way over time again.
yeah, it's just easy to gab, talk about fucking prison shit. Okay, let me ask one last question about that.
I didn't go to
Was the,
prison. Oh,
was the
no.
prison shit a you thing, a Martin thing, or a staff thing?
I think it was me, man. I mean, I actually went to that prison to interview that guy. I actually went to the prison. Like I
Right.
went and visited, I went that far. Um, but yeah, no, just getting letters to the editor, and it's like prisoners always writing, and we have prisoners are always writing to Giant Robot. That was a thing.
Yeah, I'm surprised
You
the
know.
magazine fucking like. I mean, I guess because it's not like a girl, like an FHM kind of magazine or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kind of fun, snarky content in there,
Yeah.
but
I hope it saved a life too, like in prison. I don't know. You know,
maybe
like how they tape magazines to their body so they don't get stabbed. Like I wonder if someone just taped a bunch of Giant Robots to their abdomen, and then they blocked a knife.
not minimum security, man. Not
Yeah, I
minimum
don't.
security. Like that's a maximum security problem right there. And let me tell you something: Giant Robot isn't showing up in maximum security
Oh,
prisons.
yeah, I don't really know. But there, we had a lot. We had prisoner subscribers all the time.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
So, and that actually brings up a few more small questions. And so the entire run would show up to your old office.
No, 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 no. Just the leftovers that didn't go to distributors or whatnot. There's always whatever was left over, we would get shipped.
So
Because
they would go straight.
everything would get shipped. Yeah, everything shipped to distributors from the print shop.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And the print shop was in China.
No, Canada, and
Canada.
they would drive it across the border, and then from there it would get shipped. Like they would.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't ship from Canada because it's too expensive. They'll cross the border, so it becomes domestic, American domestic shipping. So then it goes there, and then it just like a bunch of copies go to Ingram or whatever it is, and then a bunch go to Tower or wherever the distributors, and it would just gets divided up, and then whatever's left over gets on a truck and it comes to Giant Robot garage. Yeah,
I see. I see.
that's how it worked. Yeah, yeah. So it was never like international shipping; it was always domestic, but it would ship from right across a border. Hey, oh my goodness, that is some bizarre. So Luke is using a avatar on Avatar, I guess, and you're a
Yeah,
bunny.
I'm using a digital
Very.
avatar now.
It's a bunny that is squinting and just it's making a lot of eyes at me.
Yeah, I'm just having fun. All right, we should go. I wanted to end it on that on the bunny
Back
note.
on yeah, bunnies in prison. Let's do it.
Wait. It's not just going to be art at the VIP opening. There's going to be like music and stuff too, right?
Oh, Dan Automator's gonna DJ a little bit. I'm sure his DJing is probably minimal. Like, he's not like the scratch DJ. He just plays music. But
Right.
he's kind of a famous guy. He's one of the Gorillas, the original Gorillas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Deltron 3030 and whatever, Dr. Octagon and tons of great things. And then
Oh, did you know I met Cool Keith at Decon?
oh cool. Oh cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. See, that's Dr. Octagon.
I met the gynecologist at
Wow.
fucking
Yep.
Decon. I was like, oh my god, it's Cool Keith.
Do you know what he looks like?
Yeah, I've got a photo of him.
I mean, did you recognize him?
My friend
Oh.
introduced me.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
And I was just like, holy shit, fucking
Dr. Octagon. Yeah, Cool
yeah,
Keith was. Well, he was an ultramagnetic MCs.
yeah. But
And
I
then
knew him. I knew him from Octagonologist.
Oh, Dr. Octagon, amazing. And then he does Dr. Doom. He calls himself Dr. Doom with 3 O's. Dr. Doom. That's later on. Dr. Doom, yeah, later on. Or Black Elvis. I think he went by Black Elvis.
Black Elvis. Yeah, I remember Black Elvis.
Yeah.
But
he's had, many changes.
yeah, he's awesome. Fucking Cool Keith is Like, yeah. I love that guy. I love his the way he rhymed was freaking insane. But
Yeah.
so okay, so Dan the Automator is going to be spinning at
Yeah, he'll be there late, a little later, like probably at 8 o'clock. But I don't know, man. It's just basically hang out and say hi, and there'll be a presentation, a short one, like at 7:30. And I'll
mm,
introduce artists. So I'll introduce all the artists, and I don't know, simple as
you're
that.
not
Oh,
going to force it.
there'll be Kogi truck. I think I don't know. If, I mean,
Oh,
that's not
fantastic.
free, but there'll be a that's gonna be Kogi truck. I don't know. See how that goes, and I don't know what else. There's more that like beverages of some sort. Like it's scheduled. Yeah, I don't
Is it
know.
going to be food?
I don't.
I mean,
I
you're
don't.
asking us to show. You're asking the artist to show up pretty early. I know that.
Well, they'll hold the reception 6 to 9. That's what it is.
So I have to be there at what 5:30.
No, I didn't say be there. I just it said 6 to 9. You can go. You can
So
come
show
at
up at
6:30. I didn't say come at
Okay.
5:30 or anything. No, no, no. It's 6 to 9. Come when you want.
Okay. Okay.
Come when you want. I think there's be a
But
presentation
like
at seven
it'd be
thirty.
really embarrassing for you if like they're like I would like to thank, uh, you know, Felicia Chow
Luke Chu, but
and
he's
Luke
not here.
Chu. Luke Chu here, and like I have all
And
these
then
like
and you come out and there's toilet paper hanging out of your pants and oops.
yeah, yeah. At least I wipe.
Oh my god. With your left hand.
Yep. Well, I'm with both. I reach in there.
Wow. You are clean.
I gotta make sure everything's sparkling.
But I think it's just, like I don't know, it's probably pretty chill. I don't know if there's like hors d'oeuvres. They did that before. I don't think that's happening this year, as far as I
But
know.
if you got the Kogi truck there,
That's
um,
supposed to be outside. Yeah, it's gonna be there.
mm,
I think we
okay.
get free food. Artists and stuff. I think they'll give you a free food ticket. So
Ooh,
I think you'll have a free food ticket.
maybe, maybe. You're not
No, I think
sure.
so. I'm pretty sure. Yes,
Okay,
I've heard yes.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
I still need to fill out the paperwork for you guys,
Oh yeah.
but like we should talk about this stuff off of the podcast.
Not important. You could even text me in one sentence, and I'll answer you back with one word, and it'll be okay.
Or you could
Okay,
freaking
everybody.
email me. Anyways, whatever. All
You'll
right.
be okay. All right,
Uh,
everybody. Thank
all right.
you so much for listening to Robot and the Bear.
Did we have an audience?
Yeah, a little bit. Just a
Oh,
handful, as usual.
as usual.
The
I love this.
greatest handful of all time.
The greatest handful of all time.
That's, wiping your butt. Same thing.
Yep. Two hands, guys.
Yep.
Two
The
hands.
greatest handful of all time. Thanks much, everybody.
All right. Thank you so much.